A howling wind roared over the frigid and unforgiving snow of the Imperial wastes. A steady hissing sounded through the cruel dark of midnight. A pained wail broke the placid silence, and, laying amongst piles of snow in the midst of the wastelands, lay a man. Sweat from his agony of the curved blade plunged into his leg, freezing on his brow, as a masked interrogator loomed over him. The frantic man squealed in pain as the blade drove its way deeper into his thigh. The masked woman leaned down, inspecting her handiwork, before looking back up to his face. Her silver eyes studied his features from behind her bronze mask. With a small movement, she proceeded to twist the biting blade. The man screamed again as steel gnawed through flesh and displaced bone. "Are you ready to talk, you stupid toad? Or do I need to take the whole leg off?" uttered a voice laden in a thick Nesrathi accent from behind the bronze mask. The shivering man grit his teeth. "I ain't telling you shit, you sharp-eared bitch! Do your worst! Me contracted!" "You contracted the fair worst, blah, blah, blah. I've heard it all before, nomad. So how about this? If you tell me, I'll stop taking you apart bit by bit and instead just give you a swift end. Sound reasonable to you?" She tapped her sword impatiently. "I can keep you alive for a very long time, friend. I'm trained in first aid, and it's served as an excellent tool for sustaining lives, both that I wish to save and those that I simply wish to prolong for informational reasons." The victimized man, shivering against the snow, seemed to ponder the prospect for several moments. His eyes darted between her and a nearby figure that he had paid little mind until now. Finally, he seemed to come to a decision. "No, you gotta protect me. Those are my terms. You protect me against those who've contracted me, then I'll talk. The real freaky types, those ones lurking around the east horn like some sort of..." He paused, overcome with sudden terror as he realized what he said. The Nesrathi woman turned her head slightly and shouted to the man behind her, "The east turn! That's where we'd start. Got that, Vold?" Shivering eyes darted to meet the recipient of the words. "What? No. I meant... Vold responded after a quick look around, in a thick Elkexus accent. "Yes, the East Horn. I am a bit familiar with this place. Have you ever been, Veliana?" Veliana snorted. "Plenty. Would you take me for huntsman, an inexperienced bounty hunter?" She looked back down to her mark shivering at her feet before quickly pulling her blade from his leg. The man wailed in pain as he gripped the gushing wound. The masked woman looked him up and down, seeming to weigh her sword in her hand, before drawing a second sword from its scabbard, and placing the tips of each blade on either side of her victim. "Sorry, friend, but you seem to have outlived your usefulness. Die knowing that your stupidity was your ultimate downfall." She then, in one swift movement, cleaved clean through the man's neck, severing his head instantly, before he could react. She reached down, quickly taking up his head and tucking it into a leather pouch, the freshly severed body part immediately painting the pouch red. Vold, a bulky man with red hair and a long, bushy beard, turned to face the auburn-haired woman. "Was the torture and excessive prodding truly necessary?" He seemed notably sickened by the perforated and beheaded corpse. Veliana turned to him, her eyes narrowed behind her bronze mask. "I'll answer that with another question, Vold." She stood, wiping down one of her swords with a piece of torn fabric. "Under your padded little knickers there, do you have a pair of balls? Or is it devoid of any genitalia?" "Of course it was fucking necessary. Brainless louts like that one don't talk unless you give them proper incentive. Incentive, obviously, being the threat of pain or death." She walked past Vold, giving him a small shove with her recently freed hand. "I'm the professional merc here. I know what I'm doing." The red-headed man let out a sigh, expelling heated air into the cold environment. "The least you can do is to stop being so rude to me. I did, after all, help you track said brainless lout. Silver eyes turned to Vold with a mischievous glint.
What'd you expect from me? A hug? A kiss?
Vold's face turned as red as his hair. He stood silently, clearly unsure of how to respond. The woman's silver eyes studied him for a moment. Well, that's what I thought. All right, Mr. Hinsgull, let's go. I have a bounty to collect, and you've a cut, said Bounty. The two slogged through the snow for several minutes before finally finding their way to the main road of Kett, where their respective mounts loyally awaited. They climbed aboard their horses and began to ride west towards Ceterex. The night wind moaned something wicked, but it mattered